Hello everybody, cool guy here. So I've realized some people don't really know how to use certain things like code.org, so I've decided, to go on a little step-by-step tutorial, with the basics today. So first off, you want to, go to code.org. You just press in, you usually just type in code.org, and this will show up. You press on it. It would lead you, I think, to my dashboard. I'm not entirely sure. But you'd first want to make an account. I'd recommend pressing sign in with Google, so you can just use a Google account. That's the easiest way to do it. Once that's all set up, you'd want to press projects. And now you're at the projects. Usually you'd have nothing here, but I do because, I actually use code.org. So I would recommend gamelab. If you're planning on making games, I'd recommend gamelab. So you want to press on gamelab. Starts with this little guy right here. This guy is usually your repeating function that, just repeats stuff. So sprites, if you want to do sprites and all that, go to the animation tab here. New animation. There's tons of things to choose from. You can also upload images and draw your own. We're just going to use a set image for today because, well, I don't really need anything. I'm just going to look for ghosts. Let me see if there ghosts. Yo, Ghosty. A classic of mine. So, there's tons of different options here. I'd recommend going in full screen if you're ever doing sprite editing because, as you can see, the color thing is hard to access when you're not. So, there's tons of things like pen, vertical mirror, which, mirrors what you'd write. You got a paint all pixels the same color, so if I see white pixels and I pick like black or something, it's going to paint all those pixels the same color. Control Z can, undo anything. Control Y can redo anything. Eraser, self-explanatory. This just draws straight lines. Rectangle and a filled-in rectangle. Circle and a filled-in circle. Moving a sprite. You can apply it to all frames. I don't know what wrap canvas borders means. I'm not going to find out. Shape selector. You can select certain shapes of the same color, I think. I'm not entirely sure. Rectangle selection and lasso, which is you can move it anywhere. Lighten and darken stuff. I don't know what dithering does, but I never use it. And color picker. So real quickly, I need to show you guys how a certain tool here works, which is, okay, I have onion layers on, so let me just turn that off. There's also onion layers, which shows the previous frame for you, so you can, if you're doing an animation, you can flip it around, and you can see these other options. You can rotate it, apply the image to the center, crop the sprite, or crop, the entire thing. Except this one does apply to all frames and layers, so be careful with that. You can resize the drawing area, and you can export it as a sprite sheet or as an animated GIF, I think. So let's go over, real quick, one thing that I had trouble with, the selection tools. I'm going to use rectangle. So you want to hold down your mouse, highlight stuff. Now let's say we're wanting to move it. You hold shift and move it. You have to click off, and oh no, it cloned itself. I didn't know how to fix this before, but if you just press Control Z, it keeps that where it was, and it gets rid of the weird clone. I don't know why it clones it either way. If we press Control C, it does that, so I don't know why it clones itself. If you press on your keyboard the little question mark on your keyboard, you can change the shortcuts, which I've done, so not all these shortcuts are the same as what you would have. Like, for example, you usually do Control Z to, where is... For undo, you usually do Control Z, but I just edit it to Z, because that's easier to press than having to hold down Control Z. So let's go. So we have our little sprite. Naming is an important thing, so let's just say Funny Guy. Let's name him Funny Guy. You can, if this is a animation, let's move him on this different frame. Oh yeah, you can duplicate frames, discard frames, and move them in their order. It also tells you what number frame it is. So you see he's moving right there. You can change the speed. You can delete the entire thing, or you can make it loop forever, which I'm not entirely sure what that means. Oh wait, loop once makes it so it only does that once when it's available on screen. But if you want to loop forever, which I kind of do in this case. So next, sprites. Sprites, you want to name your sprite variable, like ghost in this case. You can change what the X position and Y position are by looking on here. Then if you ever have a sprite that you want, then do this. Name it. You always have to type in the same name as what the sprite originally is named, like in this case. Then you want to press this little arrow here, funny guy. He appears on screen. Oh yeah, wait. And then on the world tab, this little guy right here, draw sprites. Do that. Now let's say you have a game where your character's moving. Then what you want to do is you want to have a background above the draw sprites. Because if you don't, then this guy has duplicated sprites in front and behind him. Now in the sprites tab, you can edit its X and Y via these or via that create sprite. You can do velocities, which you can do scale, height, width, visible, true or false, rotating and all that. You can do some is touching and all that. Alpha determines like the transparency of the sprite. If it's at a 1, the sprite is not transparent at all. Anything below that makes it more and more transparent. Like for example, if our alpha, let's say we give our ghost alpha 0.5, he's going to be more transparent. It can't go above 1. You can type in more than 1. You can type in a higher number than 1, but it won't change anything, I don't think. Get speed and all that, I haven't really explored those. You can see examples if you ever are confused. World, this one has a bunch of more interactive things like playing sounds, stopping those sounds, playing speech, key downs, which are going to be important in a minute, mouse over, showing mobile controls if you want mobile to be available, world, sprite stuff, camera. So I've never used groups, so I'm not going to be able to help you with this. I assume it's stuff same with this, except with groups. Now this, backgrounds, filling colors in certain shapes and whatnot, no fill, strokes, I guess, which are lines, and the weights of those strokes, creating a, I don't know what RGB means. How do I not know what RGB means? Oh, the RGB values, like color values, okay. Rectangles, ellipse, don't know what that means. You can make text appear, arcs, lines, all that. Math, this stuff is for like a lot more complex things. Like for example, if you have function draw, we can use the sprite X here. We have our little sprite guy. We do that, but ghost X plus, let's say, 3. He's going to endlessly go like that unless we put things like, for example, in the control tab, if. We put this if baby down. If sprite. So next we want to go to math, which I think it's one of these. So let's say if ghost X. Can it not go in there? There we go. If that equals, let's say, 365. Or am I stupid? Oh wait, ghost. name him Ghost. If Ghost X equals 365, then he'll start going in a different way, or we can just straight up put him like at 35 or something. So look, he makes it and then goes there. So that's how if functions work, if stuff works, if something is there somewhere. I've never used the while loop. Now if you press this little baby down here, you can add stuff like else's and more if else's. Now the functions, I usually just use function draw. I don't know how you can make other functions. That's one thing you can learn your own. But let's say you're going to make a game where your character's going upward. We're gonna move these out of the way. So key downs and all that are usually used with if functions in mind. So if key down up, then Mr. Ghost here will go upward. That's what our prediction is. I shouldn't have. Okay, wait, actually. Then Ghost Y would go up by a few things. So Ghost Y plus 2, for example. Oops. So if Y values go up, they go downward. If Y values go down, then the sprite actually goes up. It's a bit odd. Oops, my bad. So we have Ghost. Now one thing to counteract this, you can just do plus and then put a -2. Now let's say if we have an else, so if the key is not down, then Control C, Control V, we get another one of these. The guy is going downward. See, he's going down. If we press up, he goes back up. And then you can say, I assume, let's say if his Y equals, let's say the Ghost Y. Let's say maybe the Ghost Y equals something else. Okay, this did not work out as I planned. Okay, what the... Let's say the Ghost Y equals 200, and you don't... Say the Ghost Y. Let's say you don't want the Ghost Y to go under 190. Let's say that. Let's wait. I haven't used this kind of stuff in a while, so please don't get mad at me if I get things wrong. Then, let's say that. So then Ghost Y would equal 200. Like, he's not allowed to go down. See? Wait. Did I put the wrong thing? I'm sorry, guys. So if it's greater, Ghost.Y greater 200. See, now he can go down, but he cannot go, he can go down after he's up, but he can't go any farther. Now, increasing stuff, like making this be, I don't know, -6 or something, reset, run, you can go up much higher and whatnot. That's a basic tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for the lack of content. I was planning on making a video explaining why, but I'll get to it. I don't know. Have a good day.